I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
And I am Niall Spain. And we are your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Nailed it. Alright, well, welcome back, guys.
I feel like something happened and I wanted to talk about it and I don't remember what it was.
Was it the horrible bus I got up here? Because there was a man in front of me whose hood smelled like seafood and farts. And not the bus, because when I moved away to like try catch my breath, I was like, wait, oh, it's gone. And then he like bumped into me again. His like hood just like, what was he doing with his hood?
Maybe that's his superpower. Maybe he's a vigilante. That's his like thing.
Fart hood?
Yeah. I don't know.
I had a lot of cocktails before this podcast today.
I know you did. Holy shit, we don't have whiskey.
You
Fuck.
Okay, guys, can we pause this?
We're back.
Well, fucking, hey. Yeah, boy.
Man, how fucked up would that have been if we went this whole episode without... we would have noticed eventually, I think. Would
I'm
we?
not sure I would. I've had 10 cocktails. All right. Do you want to start off with our audience question that we asked?
Yeah.
Okay. So last week we said some of the embarrassing things that we did to try and impress people, and we spread out our feelers and we got some results in. I will say most of the responses are women, and most of the responses are not about them but about what people have done to try and impress them.
And oddly enough, it was all about guys jumping over things and concussing themselves.
I will say one girl in particular, we're going to call Agent Bridge. She jumped off a bridge to impress a guy. And that's...
It's good to know that this is a universal thing and not a guy thing.
Yeah, well, she's just a badass. And she's the only girl I talked to who admitted something stupid that she did, and I appreciate that. But yeah, she said she has not only jumped off a bridge to impress a guy, she has taken out her piercings and changed her hair color because the guy she was into didn't like either of them.
An idiot.
The guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my girlfriend actually had a guy when in the old building she used to live in, between the bottom floor and where she was going. A guy got into the elevator and actually propositioned her for dinner and also dropped his credit score. So that was his awful way to try and impress her, especially because most people don't really know what a credit score means. So if you just are like, hey, I'm good at paying my bills, it's like, cool. Also apparently smelled real bad.
Like, the best thing about that is just like, it's on par with pretty much any other random fact about you. Like, he could just be like,
I have $20 in my pocket.
yeah. It's like, all right, cool.
Super.
Thanks, I guess.
It's like you could be really good at paying off your bills, but have no money.
Or even just being
You know?
like, I have my master's in psychology.
Yeah.
All right.
Fuck me.
Yeah, cool, I guess. I mean, it's like, that's kind of impressive, I guess. Like, if it's a good credit score, great. But, like, not really indicative of a good lover or romantic partner.
Yeah, she's not the only girl who has said that people have come up and been like, I make this much money, and just kind of like stared at them and hoped that that's all they need. Which also reminds me of a really funny article I read a while ago where, like, with the advent of online dating, a bunch of bank tellers were saying that they experienced a lot of guys coming in withdrawing as much money as they could from their accounts to take pictures of it in the corner, like with them, you know, fanning it out, only to try and like put it right back in and like worrying that it won't be in time to pay their bills because they want to seem like ballers but aren't.
It's amazing.
Yeah, apparently it's a whole thing. Or people getting in trouble for posting their bank statements as like Tinder profile pictures when like there's sensitive information on there, and people are like, well, don't fucking do that.
I saw someone do that on Instagram. It was actually a woman who posted a fucking picture of her, what was it? Not a tax return, but it was like, it was a very like, it was like a government document.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you have your name, your full address, and like the only thing you scratch off with your fucking social insurance number. But I was like, there's still,
everything else.
All of this thing is still, and like you're also, like this is your public persona profile. So like if someone wanted to get any sort of personal information about you, you've literally just put it on the internet. So maybe don't do that.
Yeah. No, don't just be careful with those documents online. I think one of my favorite ones was my friend Erica, who has kindly let us use her story. Somebody named a boat after her.
Just Erica?
Yeah. The Erica. She was on holidays in Veradero. I'm shrugging because I'm not entirely...
It's not a real place.
Yeah. Went to this, like, low-key kind of island, and there was this, like, old dude there who was just like, I'm in love with you, like, you should marry me, like... And she was, like, laughing it off, and, you know, whatever. She was on holidays with her friend. So next year, the same family goes back. She's not with them, but she gets a video, and it's this guy, the same old dude, being like, Erica, I love you, like, And she's like, okay, that's funny. Next year, same shit, but this time he's pointing at a boat in the water, and, like, it's not like a yacht. It's like a boat. It's like a little rowboat. It's called the Erica, so...
See, I thought you were going to say, like, he did it that day.
No,
because I was like, I bet he just, like, has a dry erase marker.
Yeah, he's like,
he just look, no.
No, but, like, it's...
Stephanie.
It's legit.
Clara.
Yeah.
Whatever, Clara.
Clara?
Whatever your fucking name is.
I have a lot, so I think I might save some for next week.
Yeah.
But I think one of the best was, or worst, same guy, I think. I might have to clarify this. But a guy lied to my good friend, who we're going to call Agent Bowling. He lied about his dad dying. I guess to, like, create intimacy and, like, connection, and they had, like, a good hug it out and, like, emotional night. And his dad's still alive.
Still doing great. Man, that's such bad voodoo.
His dad died 8 months later. So, yeah, speaking of bad fucking voodoo... he also lied about his job as a lawyer. So, there you go. Don't lie about your dad dying.
Like, you know what? If you're an asshole and you just want to get laid once, I mean, fucking... I mean, like, no. What I'm saying is, like, if this is your plan to, like, get a relationship, it's like they're gonna sort this out.
Yeah, but even if it's, like, a once-off thing, like... That's the kind of thing, if you hear about somebody, you're not gonna be like, you're just gonna be like, okay, that guy's fucked. Also, that is bad karma. Like,
oh yeah, no, 100%.
I had someone come into my work, get an interview, and do well, and then not show up and send this long, heartfelt email about how their dad died and they couldn't make it, and like everyone felt pretty bad. And our GM was like, oh shit, like this, you know, was talking to them, whatever. And someone who we worked with actually knew the person, didn't hear the original story, and was like, oh, is this person like coming to work with us? Like. And they were like, yeah, well, like, you know, his dad died, so... And they were like, what? He was in work last night, like, because they worked in a different job with him, and they had, like, a gala thing, and, like, he was there, and she was like, look, and pulled up his Facebook, and there's pictures of him and the dad, like, the day before. It's like, just don't do that.
And it's one of the, like,
that's some advice.
Don't lie.
Right now, it's not even a question yet. Don't lie about your parents dying.
Yeah, but, like,
you fucking dumbass.
It was one of those things.
You asshole.
Like,
his dad's probably dead now.
Yeah, I don't ever, like... I'm not a very superstitious person, but, like, I never put that fucking shit out into the world. It's just such bad voodoo.
Yeah, it's also just a shitty thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, thank you for the audience participation, guys. I'm going to save some more for next week.
Yeah.
Because I like it.
Ready for a question?
Yeah.
This is from our good friend on Reddit, Blue Hole Load.
Are you just looking up their fucking history?
I'm not. Point? No, I click on it and like I don't realize until I've copied it into my document.
Do they have the best or worst questions? I can't tell.
I don't really remember what their other ones were.
No, me neither. I just remember the name making me shiver.
Yeah, I don't
and
love
not
it.
in a kinky way.
They ask, does anybody else get anxiety the moment they start to really like someone they're dating? I've dated a lot, but very rarely do I find someone I really like. Last time this happened, she could tell and dump my ass because she knew she didn't feel the same way. How do you deal with your feelings so that you don't fuck up a potentially good situation?
I feel like this is a funny question because I've heard of that a lot. You know, where people are like, oh, I like this person. Like, fuck. I love it. It's the best.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't get nervous and upset. I'm like, yay, I like this person.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I think it really depends on, like, how you approach relationships.
Maybe, also.
In the sense of, like, if you are... frequently meeting people that you connect with, or like are able to connect with people, even if it's not on a romantic level, I think the excitement or like the opportunity is a little more grounded. Whereas like I think if you, although they do say they date a lot, so I'm not sure, but it's like it's one of those things where like if you're
don't really have
actively
that.
looking for a relationship, and the second you find someone who like kind of checks all your boxes, I can see yourself like psyching yourself out. You know what I mean? It's like anytime you're doing fucking, like anytime you're like, oh hey, I did this thing, watch. Like you're probably not going
Like
to be able
vaulting over a
or
a railing.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where like the second you start thinking about how much you like someone, you also then start going through all the reasons why like they couldn't possibly like you, or all the ways it'll fail. You know what I mean?
Or you just start second guessing your interactions with them because now you're like, shit, this is important. And instead of being natural, you're being a weirdo.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. It's when you start thinking about like, how do I respond to this text?
Yeah, I
Or
feel like
you start like
overthinking
judging
anything.
their fucking like punctuation use, and you're like, that was
I
two
always judge
exclamation.
punctuation use.
I know, man. I use exclamation points on everything.
Yeah, that's cool. But I mean, like, if you're just gonna not throw down fucking full stops in a fucking sentence, get the fuck out.
Or no, or what if it's just a lot of periods? That's fucking terrifying. That's worse.
Well,
I think
that's a medical issue. If they're just one after another.
I hate you.
Don't like change how you act because obviously it's going well. I do think like maybe the situation is important. Like if you're a strictly like fuck buddy situation as opposed to like just like seeing each other or like whatever. Like you guys are very much like we're just fucking, we're nothing more. I can understand the like hesitation then because I've definitely been in that situation where like you start off and you're just fucking and then you know after a while you kind of like oh shit I like this person.
Yeah.
And that I find makes sense because all of a sudden you're in a different box to what you initially put yourselves in because you're like, shit, like, I don't know if they feel the same way. I don't know if they don't. If I do this, will it end everything? Blah, 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 blah. I don't think the answer really changes. It's shit, but you still got to kind of bring it up to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're in a fuck buddy situation and you decide that you are liking them more and you want to move further, you have two options, tell them or don't. If you don't tell them, then you're just going to kind of suffer.
Yeah.
And things are going to implode regardless because you're just going to get more and more like built up about it and whatever. Or they're going to do something, you're going to get jealous, or you're going to, you know, it's just not it's not a situation that's going to last. Whereas if you're honest with them, then either they're going to agree or they're going to say no. And if they say no, fuck it. It's good that you're out of that situation because it's just going to breed unhappiness. And it was going to happen anyway, because if you just kept building it up, that's not going to end well. Well, and there's always the chance they feel the same way or are willing to take it further. So I do think honesty in that situation is always kind of like the main thing. But just don't get in your own head about it.
Yeah, and I think another thing would be to, even if you really like someone, there's no like harm in still taking it slow. Like I know there's sort of like that impulse the second you meet that person that you're just like, oh hell yes, like you're sort of like the one in quotations, whatever that means to you, where you just kind of like want to dive right the fuck in. And I think that's like, that can be scary for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And like just being that intense so quickly can scare people off, even if they do feel the same way, because they're not seeing sort of like regulated you. They're seeing like hyped up, super intense version of you, which is sort of like a misleading indication of who you are. Yeah. Well, because like if it's one of those things where like if you can't stop thinking about them, hearing that after a first date is a bit concerning, even if it is from like the sweetest point, because like I've definitely
and even
had
if
that.
you like somebody, like there are like,
because no one knows what red flag you're throwing out, like and so there are some things to maybe keep to yourself. Like if you can't stop thinking of someone after a first date, like hang on to that. And that might be something sweet to reveal later on. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
3
like,
months down, you can
2
totally
years down.
confess and be like, oh, just, you know what I mean? It's like, I knew I was like,
I met
really
you
into
and like I couldn't stop thinking about you.
Yeah,
Like that's cool, but
that's
after the
that's
first
a revelation
date,
to
that's
share.
creepy.
Yeah, like later on, once you've established some sort of relationship and like the parameters of that relationship, to sort of like drop those sort of romantic comedy like sound bites on someone that soon into a relationship is going to freak anyone out.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if it doesn't
like,
freak
even
them
if they
out,
like you,
run.
then, yeah, that's the thing.
Because
If
they're crazier
like,
than you.
Yeah, no, don't do that. I think that like sticks in what I was saying is like don't like keep doing what you're doing, as in like whatever you're doing before, presumably you're acting naturally. If you then are like, shit, I like this person, like gun it into like 10th gear, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna be like, whoa, Bessie. Because obviously you have a horse in the room as well, and that'll terrify that horse.
Yeah, you've bought them a horse, named it after them, and shaved in, will you marry me?
Oh,
into the
funny. If while we were talking about people doing weird things to impress you, someone once bought me a printer. That was not okay.
Look, man, I just thought you wanted to print your books. That's all.
It was the third time I'd met this person 3 times, including the very first time I met them, and one time where they just showed up unannounced on my doorstep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Take that fucking printer,
Don't do that.
bitch. And don't worry about, like, taking too long and like, losing them to someone else.
Unless you're taking too long.
Well...
No, I'm joking.
No, I mean, like, there's... If you've established connection, great. I mean, like, don't wait forever and hope they make the first move, that kind of thing. But, like,
Yeah.
if you've already established a relationship, like, don't worry about fucking... being like, oh, someone else is going to sneak in and steal them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, chances are your desperation to hold on to them
Yeah.
is going to push them away faster than someone else is going to, quote-unquote, steal them
Exactly.
away from you.
It's a lot easier to drive someone away than it is for someone to pull them away. And you being jealous and, like, anything like that, and, like, just fucking controlling, anything like that is just going to fuck it up so much faster than even, like, oiled-up Tom Hanks could do. The sexiest of creatures.
Yeah, I was going to say, goddamn, just
I know.
just the utterance of that phrase.
Like, I expect you to give me shit, but you, like, paused and, like, just shivered.
Oh, yeah, no, I took every word of that and, like, rolled in my brain and my mouth.
You know what?
Thought about it.
I wasn't going to do this question first off the bat, but it's kind of topical. Let's chain this shit up.
Oh, baby, we're on the synergy game
Although,
again.
you know what? I feel like at some point we should talk about the show. Like, this podcast. Because we've never really talked to anybody. We've never even let anyone know, like, how we do this. And, like, what our process is.
Maybe on our 25th episode.
Sure, let's do it. All right. She, 19-year-old female, wants to be engaged. But I'm, 21 male, not ready for it. And now we're fighting over it by this isn't my/you on Reddit.
Sorry, what was her age? 29?
19.
Oh, 19, she wants to get married.
19 and 21.
Hi.
Speaking of taking it slow,
Yikes.
anybody who needs to be married shouldn't be married. Anyone who has to be married right now shouldn't be married.
Yeah.
Like, if you really love somebody, then the marriage doesn't necessarily matter, right?
That's the thing.
Like, you're with them regardless. The only reason to need it right now or want it right now is because you're worried they're going to leave. You want it for outside reasons like social status or security or something, right? Like, there's no reason to pressure it. Like, I get you might want to. You might be like, oh, I love this person. But, like, at what point you like, you need to marry me right now. Like,
yeah.
That's
like,
fucked.
unless they're, like, on a green card visa or whatever, and, like, the only way to keep them in the country is to marry them, then...
But
I
then
get
you're not
that.
marrying for being married.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're dating someone and it's, like, it's worked out and their visa's expiring, it's like, I could, like...
But you're still not marrying to get married.
Absolutely. Me personally, like, I can see myself doing that. Like, I think that's, like, the only sort of way it would, like... Yeah, you're a fucking Canadian citizen.
Yeah,
You're good.
I
I got nothing to offer you. I know a girl who got married after, I think, like 6 months because she was upset that her sister was getting married for the second time before she had been married once.
Sounds... well, in that case, obviously, that's a very legitimate reason. Yeah, no, that's not true.
Granted, I don't know if that's really the reason, but it certainly seemed that way.
I know someone who publicly Instagrammed their divorce about a few weeks ago, which happened about a year, but they decided they were getting divorced 6 months after being married, which I think was about twice as long as their relationship. There's no rush. When you're that young, just don't get married. Like, I don't think there's, unless you're dying of cancer, like, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to get married at 19.
My thing is, like, you guys haven't experienced... At 19, you have not experienced... And I'm saying this generally, because I know there are a lot of young people who have experienced a shit ton of things.
Yeah.
And, like, have gone through things that I can't even imagine.
Of course.
What I'm saying is, like...
But in general, and I'm assuming this person...
The majority of teenagers, you haven't experienced, like... what the world has to, like, the realm of high school, and it seemed like everything sort of like ends and dies in high school, and it's like a breakup is the end of the fucking world, and like everything is heightened because you don't have the scope of the rest of the
Your world is fucking tiny,
and the rest of your life,
and it's
like
dumb.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot of trivial shit, and it's a lot of petty shit, and it's a lot of stuff that's heightened by hormones and emotions and like puberty and like all that shit that you're going through. So there's all this sort of like heavy weight on things, and then once you get older and you experience more of things through life, whether it's relationships or heartbreak or whatever, you look back. Like, I look back at the shit I was upset about when I was 16, and it's laughable. Like,
I wish I could be upset about
that's
that
the thing. It's
stuff
like I would go back to that sort of like quote unquote pain any day,
Yeah.
because it was fucking a cakewalk
golden,
compared
yeah.
to the sort
Actual
of like
life.
day-to-day life of a responsible adult.
Yeah.
So like it's before you get married, you should experience things.
And also experience things together, because
Yeah.
people are different when they're under hardship and when they have to like do a bunch of different shit and like grow, and like I doubt you've been living together very long, if at all.
Yeah.
And
That's my thing. It's like if
you
you've-
need to take those steps.
If you've never lived together, you should not get married.
So I will say two things, because I think we're both on the side of this is insane. I don't think you should ever marry someone if they're pressuring you into it, firstly.
Yeah, true.
Secondly, this post got removed in the last half an hour. But before they did that, they had an update, which I just saw on the subway, and he was like, I want to sit down and talk about things. And he just like hashed this out, and she said, if you want to talk about it, I'm moving back home.
Yeah, that's
No, just
That's red
cool.
flag.
She's
That's-
doing you a favor. Get the fuck out of this marriage.
yeah.
Like,
That's,
no, just fuck.
because again, I think we've talked about this before. I don't remember what or why, but it's one of those things where, like, if
Someone's
the beginning of your relationship starts with an ultimatum, it's not going to be the first or the last time.
No.
Like, this is how your life is going to be with this person, where every time they want something, they're going to give you that ultimatum of being like, either we're doing this or I'm doing this.
Yeah. Or do you really want to live the rest of your life being like, you know, you have kids one day and they're like, oh, like, how'd your mom get married? It's like,
Yeah, how did you
well, she threw a
propose?
fucking tantrum and said she'd move home if I didn't do it. So I wasn't ready, but I said yes because
Yeah.
I was scared of losing her and having to find someone else.
Yep.
Super. Also, you're probably divorced at that point, so.
Yeah. 100%.
Just like, there's no rush to get married. There's no rush to do really anything.
It's not
if you actually love each other, like, you have all the time in the world,
Yeah.
literally. So,
And also, weddings are fucking expensive. So at
Yeah.
21, I highly doubt you have the fucking cash that isn't going to, like, absolutely ruin your lives forever.
you're gonna start your fucking marriage in debt and misery.
Yeah, like, unless your parents are rich and they're like,
Even
we'll
then,
pay for
like-
everything. But it's like, that's... I think the reason that marriage and people are so fucking miserable in new marriages when they're young, I think it stems from, like, that financial burden, because you spend all this money on this fucking, literally this one day that is absolutely inconsequential to your relationship. And then you're in debt. You've spent all the money that could have been put towards an apartment, a first down payment on a house, a car, or like anything that could have actually moved your fucking relationship forard and your
Big boy
life
pants
forward.
when you hit 20.
Yeah. College, you know what I mean? Like an education, anything that you could have
Yeah.
spent this money on. Any like substantial thing is worth more than a wedding.
But I also
in terms
feel
of
like
financial contribution.
Once like all the fairy tale and the fun of your marriage day is done with, then all of a sudden you're like, cool, I'm 21 or 19 and now I'm married forever, and now we just have to get on with our lives. But all of a sudden, like, it's not this fun like future fairy tale thing. It's like, it's done, and now you have to be an adult and live and like build a future together and do all these things that you haven't done yet.
But then you don't get to do it because you're fucking working 2 jobs and you're both stressed about money.
Yeah.
And you're both like
And also, like,
overworked
when's the
and
next
exhausted.
thing? Like, is she like, we need this better house, or we need
or
these
we
kids?
need kids, yeah. And then it's like, yeah, it spirals so quickly
Just
out of control.
Don't rush into shit because, like, it's not worth it. And honestly, if you do love each other, like, you don't need to do it right now.
This is by Reddit user Weird Boy Ward Boss. I'm gonna let that sink in again. Weird Boy War Boss.
War boss. Is he me?
So here's the thing. I was thinking War Boss as in like the boss of a war, but now I'm thinking that maybe War Boss is like his last name.
He's from the Mad Max universe.
He asks, or she,
Could be you.
They ask, is it a big no-no to describe yourself as intelligent? My dating profile summary currently reads, intelligent, always positive hobbyist, seeking self-confident and level-headed woman who can put up with my poor health. I don't mention intelligence or anything to that effect in the body of my text, but no one's clicking on my profile, so they wouldn't know. I might also be ugly, but that's the next thing to figure out. So, like...
That's a wordy-ass description. What's a hobbyist?
I mean...
Is it just someone with hobbies?
Or is
that in the specific
There's
term?
a lot of things here where I feel like it's where people fall into problems on online dating where they analyze everything but, like, the important thing. And I think the important thing here is my poor health.
Yeah.
Like, that is not a selling feature.
No.
And I
like,
appreciate
it
being
could be-
upfront and
yeah,
honest
yeah.
about that. Click in at your profile.
I think if you really want to be that upfront, you need to be specific.
Yeah.
Like,
poor health could be anything. Like, do you have cancer? Do
Yeah.
you have deteriorating mental health?
Yeah.
Do you
just have a shit immune system?
Yeah, or are you just unhealthy? Do you just eat shit and not work out? Like,
Yeah.
what is poor
And that's
health?
the thing, like, yeah, by all means be upfront, but you really do, like, because not everybody is going to want to or be able to be in a relationship with somebody who has specific needs. And if you want somebody who can deal with those specific needs, you kind of need to be specific about them.
You're fishing out there, you know what I mean? It's like, don't, like, make that bait at least a little bit attractive to get
Yeah.
people to nibble.
I love how he thought intelligent was the
That's
part that...
my thing. I was like,
Although you got back that up, bro.
you're worried that
They
people
won.
are turned off
She wants
by
to
the
see your Mensa
intelligence,
card.
and not the fact that you are perhaps dying. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I do think that is definitely the most...
Especially when, like, online dating is a competition for everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But especially for men. If I was scrolling through a list of profiles and it was like, live, laugh, love, and like, I love Netflix and Friends, and one was like, I'm a stabby bitch.
I think out of those three, I might do stabby bitch.
Like, you can't be like, what? Why is no one choosing this?
Yeah.
Or it's like, I'm super into cutting dicks off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay. Let's be fair. I don't think we can
compare
poor
cutting
health
dicks.
and
Yeah.
cutting. You know, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like you can't be like. Look, people out there have poor health. You know what I mean? Some people, to varying degrees, people have their shit. We're not gonna say it doesn't happen, but also people out there can barely deal with their own lives, let alone somebody else's. So like, if you see that on someone's profile and you don't click as a result, like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm sure it sucks to be the person, but like, there's nothing you can do about that on either side of the thing. And if you're going to be brave enough, which, like, fuck, I commend it, to go out there and, you know, be upfront about these things, that's awesome. But you can't be unaware that that's going to turn some people off.
Yeah,
because
deter people.
But also, when it's so fucking vague,
My thing is
that
like,
could mean anything.
my thing is like, I'm for sure put it in your fucking profile, but don't put it in your fucking headline. You know what I mean? Like, if you have like, if people are scrolling,
Which app is this?
I don't know, but I'm
Okay.
assuming it's probably like OkCupid or something
I
like
don't
that,
know.
where like,
That's kind of what you see first before
yeah,
you click
like when
into,
you get your matches, you get like a list, and then there's probably like a picture, name, age,
yeah.
and then like probably a fucking like little snippet. For just be like, you know what I mean, whatever you want to say, and then in your profile, when people actually are like, oh, this guy's cute, and like,
Yeah.
I kind of like what he's about, and they click on it, and then you can be like, oh, hey, I have.
Yeah, and the thing is,
This.
there's no harm chatting to somebody for a bit before letting them know that, because like it's online, it's whatever. Like, if you have an app in your pocket, you can spend the time to exchange a few fucking sentences.
Yeah.
It's different maybe if you make them meet up with you and you're like, oh, just a surprise.
Oh,
like,
by the way, I'm chronically ill.
yeah, you know. But also, can you reread it for a second?
Yes.
I just need to hear that tagline for a second.
Intelligent, always positive hobbyists seeking self-confident and level-headed women who can put up with my poor health.
Okay, put up. I thought you said deal with initially, and I was like, it sounds like you just want someone to look after you.
I mean, put up still isn't the best verb.
Yeah, put up as well. It's also really like, sorry, that was the biggest plosive.
Yeah.
It's
Look at
kind
you
of like
learning things.
aggressive, right? Like, will you put up with me?
Yeah, putting up with someone is like the last thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, putting up with,
Like,
it
maybe,
means you
like-
don't like them, but you're around them
It can
for
deal with
another
it, I guess.
reason.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like-
mean? It's like, I put up with some people that I work with.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
But it, like, I don't want to hang out with them. They're like,
Yeah,
that's like the bare minimum that I need to do in order to continue functioning at my
Yeah.
job is putting up with someone. The last thing I want to do is enter into a relationship in which, like, the
you should
expectation
never be
is to
putting
put up with.
anything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, but I guess we're getting sidetracked. That's not the question, is it? Is putting the word intelligent a problem?
That's a good point. You do make a good point there. And I'm going to say, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think you sound really, like, arrogant or, like, elitist.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things where I immediately get turned off when people call themselves unique as well, because it's like,
Yeah.
that's not a classification you get to decide for yourself.
Yeah, and
Those
also, I will bet you anything, most of the people calling themselves intelligent or unique are not very intelligent or unique.
Intelligent stuff, because, like,
Or,
I consider myself intelligent. Would I ever, like, describe myself as, you know what I mean? Like, would I ever be
wouldn't.
like, hi, look, I'm an intelligent young man? It's like, well, I mean, I'm also not a young man.
You're not a...
It's one of those things that carries a lot of baggage and a lot of
Well,
sort of like,
I
there's a
feel
lot
like
of,
it's one of those things that, like, it probably goes unspoken. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever assume anybody's dumb, right? Or, like, unintelligent. It's like, I assume everyone's unique and everyone is intelligent. Like, and for you to point it out makes me not believe it necessarily.
yeah. And it's
Or
like,
it
maybe
makes me feel like you're like, it seems very try-hardy or whatever. Like, and also, like, I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I want to find out, not be told, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't just be like, hot man, attractive man. It's like, like, if I was just like, hey, I'm an attractive man, even if I was, you'd be like,
yeah.
are you?
And it's also like, that's a subjective thing. You can look
Exactly,
at it and be like, I can see
Like,
for that
how do
myself.
you measure your intelligence? Is it like just an
IQ?
IQ test? Is it like, well, you know what I mean? But how do they measure their intelligence?
Yeah, no,
right?
for sure.
Is it like, have you studied Battlestar Galactica a lot? Like,
That's the thing.
are
it's
you
like,
good at math? Are you?
if you have like a certain intelligent, or like, if you have like a field of expertise, mention that. You know what I mean? Maybe like, if you want to be like, you know,
engineer.
yeah.
Also,
or-
hobbyist literally means people who, like, I looked it up. It means someone who's into a hobby. Fucking name the hobby.
I know it's a very vague.
Don't tell
sort
me
of,
like, I like fun things.
yeah,
what fun
breathing
thing?
human who does things.
Yeah. Human with functioning brain who does things, and I might be dying.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what his
What?
tagline is.
Like the thing is,
It's like a very ill alien trying to pass himself off as a human on online dating.
I will bet you somebody told him once, you know, I love men who are tall, dark, and mysterious. And he's tall and dark, and he's like, how do I get to be more mysterious? He's like, well, I won't tell them about my hobbies, how I categorize how smart I am, or whether I'm even gonna live past this month.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I wish there was like a cheat sheet of just being like, here are words not to use to describe yourself on online dating.
I feel like it should go without saying, but I guess it doesn't.
I mean, like, I think always positive. Like, I think a positive. Also, what did he say?
If you're dying, you have to be.
Well, I mean, that's like saying things like that, or like if you're.
What's the bet he has like a sprained ankle or something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Are there replies? What does everyone else say?
I don't know, because it's not. I copied the question, not like the link.
Okay. And like, I hope it doesn't seem like
Although
we're
I
making.
do recall, like one of the questions was just like, ... What's your poor health?
Which is the.
But there was no answer, so I don't.
That's the first thing everybody's gonna think.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
there's
that's-
no way you put something down there that says that isn't gonna draw questions. Like, it's very unique, shall we say?
Yeah.
Ironically, it's not very intelligent. No, I just.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't really, if you're gonna drop something that honest and that like raw and like big, because let's be fair, it is. You can't be vague, because not only do you have to get someone who's vaguely interested into it or like possible, but like then they're gonna have to be like, oh, am I okay with dealing with whatever this could be, which is a lot of things, and people's imaginations are fucking huge, right? So even if it's going to be harder to attract the average person, to attract somebody who might be okay with whatever you have, you can't give them, oh, the possibilities are endless. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're being specific, if you're like, hey, I've impaired visibility, or like I'm the most mobile or something, someone might be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But like, that's a very specific situation and person, I think. Like, I think you have to be more specific.
Oh, 100%.
You just can't be vague.
Yeah, you can't leave that sort of just like...
And also, like, and this might sound bad, but like, I feel like nobody's gonna want to, like, because the only way to find out is by being like, hey, like, I saw your profile and I was like wondering, and what if you say something that they can't deal with? And,
Yeah.
And it's bad as well. Like, what if you're like, hey, like, I have terminal cancer. And maybe you're not the kind of person, which I don't think a lot of people would be, they'll be able to enter in a relationship knowing that and being strong enough to
that's
do
a
that.
huge ask.
But can you imagine just ghosting them then? Or to be
Yeah.
like, sorry. So, like, I'm sure even people who might have taken...
Sorry, I just got out of a relationship.
I'm not willing, even if it's short term,
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, even people who might be okay with whatever... probably don't want to risk asking in case it's something they can't deal with, because then they can't just be like, bye. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine, like, I'm sorry, I have insert serious illness here, and then just like, you've been blocked. Like,
Yeah.
what? No one could do that. Like, if they reply to you, they're in it for life.
Yep. All right, hit me.
What is the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you during sex? And I will preface this with the example of the question asker, who was Fourth Dust 141. Because it's fucking great. I was recently hooking up with this guy. She is a lady. And it was going great. I got on top, and he commented on how great it felt from that angle. So naturally I said, oh yeah? You like that cock? Now, I don't have a cock. And I never have. He kind of just stared at me blankly. So I stopped briefly and was like, yeah, not sure what made that come out of my mouth. And he continued. Honestly, I wanted to shrivel up right there.
I've definitely done that.
You've asked someone how your vagina felt?
No, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, I was thinking about, like, it was probably something along the lines of, like,
Lasagna?
like, I want to eat your cock. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Pardon?
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, like,
You want them to
I
eat
want
your-
them to suck my cock, and I want to eat them, and, like, you just flip it around, and, like,
can-
or they're, like, stroking you, you know what I mean? Like,
Have you legitimately told a girl you want to eat their cock?
No, but, like, like, definitely, I've said something along the
Okay.
lines of, like, I want to fuck their cock, or, like, I've told them to, like, suck my pussy or something.
What? Okay, I need to be specific.
I don't remember, but I've
okay,
definitely...
you've mixed up.
I've definitely done the, like, swap of things.
I kind of get it in that I don't think I haven't done that, but I have this weird habit of mixing up, like, terrible and terrific. Whereas, like, people are like, how was that? I'm like, oh, it's fucking terrible. I'm like, I mean, terrific. And they're like, what? I'm like, ah. I've done that so many times. Not even just in a sex scenario, just in general. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, because, like, I bet she was thinking, like, I love, or, like, do you like the way I'm riding your cock?
Yeah,
And then she was
yeah.
probably, like,
How
also
does
being
it-
like,
yeah.
no, I want
Or,
to
like,
take control
maybe
of this
how
situation.
does your cock feel or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, no, I just think it's really funny.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done the swap, and I've just been like, but the thing is, like, I've always laughed my ass off about it, and, like, so have they.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever, that fucking happens.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Other than me sneezing into the vagina,
That's pretty good.
which is a story I've
If
told
you've listened
in one
before,
of the
you know
earlier
that.
episodes. That was, like, one of the first ones.
I think it might have been the first.
I don't know. No, I think it was, like, 2 or 3.
Okay.
but like up there. Do you have a story? Obviously, you have
I
a
do,
story.
I
Yeah.
do.
Okay, you tell your story, and I'll try to think.
See, and I had the luxury of thinking about it for the last 2 or 3 hours. Like I really wish I knew the words to describe the whole thing perfectly, but I had basically like met this girl, we'd gone and we were having sex in like a unique kind of like circumstance. We'd broken into this like unused cabin and it was in the dark.
Would you call it spooky?
It was pretty spooky. And like it was just like one of those really, really great like moments where like chemistry was just so good, like everything we did was just so good, and like the sexual experience was awesome, like everything was great. But like I recently around that time with like other people I'd hooked up with, like I've been getting like a lot of like really nice compliments on my penis, and I was feeling pretty happy about my penis, and we had sex and it was great, but like it was in the dark, and like yeah, it was great, but I was kind of like, oh, it's a pity, like I didn't really get to like appreciate like their body, they didn't really get to like appreciate mine. And like we finished, and like I went and I like, because we weren't at home or anywhere, I had to dispose of the condom, so I went and like got some tissue paper and like wrapped it up and like gave myself a little bit of a wipe and like went back into the room. And she said again this nice thing about my dick, and I was like, fuck it, like I found a light and like trying to be all sexy, which again, anytime I try and be sexy just fails miserably. So I like flicked on the light while kind of being like, oh yeah, like this dick, kind of like, it's paraphrasing, but it turns out when I had put the toilet paper on it, I guess it was all sticky and whatever,
Yeah.
and some of it had come off. So what I'm expecting to be this big like sexy look at my dick moment, it's just like there's just some toilet paper on it.
It looks like a ghost. You've ghostified your dick.
Yeah,
You've
basically.
mummified your dick.
And again, we laughed our fucking asses off. Like we laughed so hard. It was great. And it was a really fun moment, but it was just like super embarrassing. Cause like, again, just trying to be super sexy and cool. And like, it's so funny. I feel like anytime I get that, like, yeah, go Niall, a chip on my shoulder, I just get undercut so hard. And I'm like, yep, that's how it is.
So I was with this girl who like, it was a pretty rare like hookup, but like it was an ongoing thing. Like we've been sleeping together for like fucking years, but it would be like twice a year. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where like it was a lot of dirty talk in between those times, and it was sporadic, but there would be times where like obviously she was horny or I was horny and we'd like message each other, and it came up that she she really wanted me to like come on her face, mm-hmm. Which I was like, okay, cool, yeah. Whatever. And so when she finally came over,
literally,
we were fucking, and we got to like the point, and I was like, okay, like I'm about to come, so like when I pull out, get ready to get on your knees and like get down nice and low for me. And she's like, okay, great, cool. But
you got on your knees instead.
Yeah, and then I just came all over myself. No, so she did it, and I like, but then I struggled to get the fucking condom off, but she had her eyes closed. I guess in preparation to not get any in her eyes. So like I struggled to get the condom off, and like I kind of like got most of it in the condom, and then I was like, I still got some, so I tried to like finish on her face, but all I managed was just like an inch long line right down her nose, mm-hmm. and I was just like, damn it.
I don't think that's that embarrassing.
I mean, like she was expecting like a porn star, like fucking...
She had her eyes closed. She just emptied the condom.
Oh God.
I am clearly joking. Do not do.
Honestly, you know what? If I had thought of it, but like,
oh, well, we gotta never do this podcast again.
Yeah. I think that might be one of the most embarrassing things.
Yeah. Again, as with our trying to impress people or being impressed by people, feel free to let us know. Oh, actually, you know what? I do already have 2 from people because they were around me when I found the question. And they're both just people puking on dicks.
Oh, boy.
So,
you know what? I've had a girl almost do that.
I never have, and I'm okay with that. One puked on the dick, but then managed to contain it and slurp it back up before it left, which I think is worse.
Oh, yeah,
personally.
It's worse.
The other one just all over, everywhere.
I wouldn't be mad about that. You know, because considering the circumstances and what she was
I feel
attempting
like
to do, I assume it was like a deep throat thing.
Oh, they were both guys. And yes.
But I mean,
I assume.
Still,
I don't know.
Still deep throat, I assume.
I got the impression one was maybe just from excess alcohol. But yeah, probably
okay.
a deep throat thing.
If it was
Sorry, you
excess
said
alcohol-
cheap, so I just want to clarify.
yeah,
I
sorry.
wasn't saying like deep throat. No, they're boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I would if it was a deep throat thing, and like if a girl threw up on me
Yeah.
because she was trying to
it's
like
just going so
gag on my
hard.
tit, I would be like I would honestly feel so bad for her, like because
yeah.
I knew she would be so embarrassed, but like I would be the most like reassuring. Like I'd be like, I
fucking
don't,
hope
like,
so.
I don't care. Like
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
I don't want this to ruin your dreams of deep throating.
And I know, like, I've definitely heard people talk about like farting or queefing, and it's like, firstly, no one gives a shit if you queef ever.
No.
Like, no one in the world has been like, oh, that's embarrassing. Like, what? Nobody cares. But
Yeah.
girls get so upset about it.
Girl gets weirded out by that, and like
Nobody gives a fuck.
yeah, we're fucking you. That's
It's just, like,
whatever.
no one
Yeah.
cares. Also with farting, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, no one cares.
Nope. So this one is from Agent Cobra. Once again, thank you for actually using our Facebook Messenger and not.
It's a pretty select club, but it's the best people.
I know so far, pretty strong crew.
Fuck yeah.
I mean,
Are you able to
not
join
really
this
because
crew?
it's
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, our legit questions, not the people who are trying to fuck us and or get us to hack people's messages
Yeah.
for them.
but the people who
you know
actually
who
sent
you
us
are.
questions.
Yeah, I feel like
are the
our
best.
unique club are the people who've sent us legit questions and Gandalf.
And Agent Cobra asks, what advice do you have for someone moving to a brand new city where they don't know anyone for meeting new people, preferably not Bumble or Tinder?
So there's this thing called Hinge. No,
I will say Bumble has a like BFF option. It's not just dating. There's like Bumble like
do you trust
normal.
men to use that sincerely?
I'm not saying
Meet men.
using, but like if she's a lady looking for like lady friends to go out and then meet,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like introducing yourself to like-minded individuals is a good way to meet new people.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I moved across the world to Canada, and when I got here, I knew nobody, and I was homeless, and this was one of the things I had to deal with. I was lucky in that I did like a year, like an exchange year in University of Toronto, so I met some people there, but I think that's kind of an important thing, is that like you need a thing to go to. You need like, so I think personally like classes
Yeah.
are, and like let's look at it this way: you move to a new place, loneliness and boredom are two very real dangers. How do you get rid of both of them? You have free time, pick something you've always wanted to do and fucking go do it. Like go to a knitting class, go to a martial arts class, go to a yoga studio, go fucking learn circus shit. Like I bet you that there's a bunch of shit that you've probably considered or never thought of or whatever that like you could go and do. And the thing is, you'll be in a place, you'll be with a bunch of people. It's a very non-threatening environment where you're gonna like almost be forced to become friends with these people because you're gonna be in the same room doing the same shit. You'll have shared interests, and be they guy or girl, be they romantic or platonic, you know, relationships, they will then lead and expand your circle of friends, and like you'll
That's
know
the
their
thing.
friends, and you'll be able to go out with them to a bar, and then whether or not you meet someone there is a different thing, and like
Yeah.
it starts that kind of spider webbing, right?
I would say, yeah, definitely try to find platonic, like awesome platonic friends before you
'cause
try
you need
to
that
jump
base,
into.
regardless.
That's the thing. It's like because if you end up finding like a romantic partner, it's like then that's all you have,
And that's going to be
that-
bad for everybody.
then it ends up being really dependent
Yeah.
on them. Because like if it doesn't work out, then you're alone and depressed, and you have no one to fall back on. So
Yeah.
I think like the first priority, you're absolutely right, is finding like a solid network of like even if it's like 3 people. Because if they're from that city, they also have friends
Yep.
who you then can have like a more casual acquaintance to, and like maybe that will lead to a relationship, or at least like they'll invite you to things and do things. And yeah, like I would highly recommend joining independent clubs, and by that I mean like don't go to the big box gym, go to like an independent gym.
That's fair, yeah.
Because with my gym, they do social things all the time.
Yeah.
Like we did like that boxing
The
speed dating
thing? Yeah, that was fun.
which was like wild and didn't really lead to anything, but it was like it was still fun.
Yeah, it was a
and
great
like,
experience.
a potential ability to like meet people.
Yeah.
But they also do like they do like summer barbecues, and they do fight nights, and they do events that you can go to. And I don't think a lot of like big gyms
No,
do
if
that
you're
because
in
they're all
fucking
about
Good
like
Life or something. I
yeah,
think
they're all about
they
just
have,
selling you personal trainer hours,
and also they have too many people. I think where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, all 12,000 people who've signed up, and only 2,000 go to the gym. Let's all go to a barbecue with free fucking chicken wings. Like,
Yeah.
no, they can't do that, and why would they need to? Right? Like, find somewhere with heart. Also, like, even like look around. Like, I again, where you're moving to, I'm not sure how similar it'll be to here, but I'm sure similar enough because like. You can go to like fringe bars or like even just bars in general that'll have like, Rorschach on the east side. They do like a drop-in D&D night
Yeah.
every now and then. I think it's fucking great. I think you'll really enjoy that. And you'll be put in a group of like, between 4 and 6 to 8 people, I'm assuming. And like, that'll be super fun. And like, if you show up and it sucks, you can just never go again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Or like a book club or like, there's probably some cool breweries or bars that do like, these things.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
Even if
like-
it's like trivia night.
Yeah, like
they
we-
will put you in a group. If you like, I think almost every ad I've seen for Toronto trivia is like, come with a group, come alone, we'll put you in a group.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and that's the thing. It's like, I mean, we did that in
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
when we were in New York, we
ended
showed up like it was the complete accident. We just
Yeah.
ended up in the bar and they're like, "We're doing trivia night," and we were like, "Hey," we ended up talking to these 2 great girls and like doing a whole thing with them, and it was great.
Yeah.
It sucked, but it was great.
Yeah, we weren't good at it.
I don't
but,
think
like,
we got a single question.
that
right.
was the night I got real drunk and then rallied like a champion.
Yeah, I think maybe the drunkest I've seen you.
Yeah.
If we discount you getting drugged,
Yeah.
but even then, I was too busy.
Yeah.
I had my own capital N night. Do a survey, like when you get there, like fucking, you'll have time. Like find the cool bars, find their events. Like like Famous Last Words in Toronto has a lot of book themed events and like
Yeah.
cocktail classes and like book clubs and like shit like that. Like I'm sure there's somebody somewhere like that there.
There's also like
There's-
neighborhood Facebook groups that you can join because I know there's one for like Parkdale, there's one for the Junction.
Yeah.
Like there was a night Amanda and I went out and Amanda posted a thing on like our neighborhood's fucking Facebook group and was just like, we're at this bar, we're gonna be drinking all night and wandering around the neighborhood, so come out and join us. And we had like 5 or 6 people show up. And it was just a bunch of random people, and we just like hung out with them all
Nice.
night. And then like by the end of the night, there was only like I think there's 3 or 4 of us, and it was like fucking great
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was like we've never talked to them again, but
Yeah,
It
but
was-
like
it was
if
still,
you
like,
met
a
someone
fun-
cool, you could have, you know what I mean?
That's the
Or
thing,
like
yeah.
anyone who kind of stood out. Even like the Irish and New in Toronto like Facebook group.
yeah,
They, I'm sure there's a new in wherever you're going group or something because like with the internet these days, it's not. Well, why wouldn't there be?
Yeah.
Like there's definitely somebody in the same situation, right?
yeah, and like as a pretty girl, or as a woman just in general, you kind of have to be like
You are a pretty girl.
a little more, protective, or at least a little more cautious.
I thought you were giving like a self example, and I thought you were joking.
Oh no.
So like waiting for the punchline. You're like, as a pretty girl. I'm like, yes, you are a pretty girl, Dan. But yeah, you gotta be careful.
So I
obviously.
don't
But,
want
like,
to give
when you're in
but I
a,
assume you're smart enough to know all these things. But
yeah,
I just
exactly.
wanted to
And the
say
thing
that.
is, like, if you're going to a class, there's a bunch of people there. It's definitely a lot
Yeah.
safer than just like
I mean more about like posting on Facebook groups.
yeah,
Being like, I'm going to be at the, you know what I mean? Like, or asking if there's like things going on.
Well, more so you can go to a thing, you
Yeah.
know, like if you're part of the group and someone's like, hey, we got this. So I say like try find like the cool places. And like what's kind of great is that one, it's an adventure, but two, like if you're in a new place, like you get to fucking scope it out and like discover all these things that if you're trying and if you're like, actually looking, I'm sure you'll know places that even the locals don't know by the end of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people are complacent. They're just like, we'll go to this bar. And it's like, what the fuck? So there's probably somewhere cool. There's probably some niche club, and like there's probably something you've wanted to do that you
Yeah,
never
you're
got
also
a chance to do.
Moving into a new place and like you kind of have a blank slate
Mm-hmm.
to kind of just sort of like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And like figure out what your scene is. Because like you might know what you're into, but you might also sort of like be like, I kind of want to do something new.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that with boxing. Like I had never boxed, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I kind of want to try it out. And like I've been
I
doing
did
it
that
for
with
like
climbing,
4
right?
years. Yeah, it's like you might find something that you really enjoy, and it's like
Yeah.
it's a good time to take a chance.
Yeah.
And if you like bands or try to like a certain fandom, you can also look into that because like I know Toronto does like screenings for like cult movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So like going there and like finding people who are like into this fucking weird
Yeah,
movie
I'll
or
bet
band
they
or whatever.
probably have a monthly showing of The Room, and if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah, but like there was also a thing where one of the theaters was doing all the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
And like they were doing like a full day of like just, and you could drop in at any point in time and like come and watch whatever. It's like, yes, going to the movie theater isn't the best place to like talk, but if there's like intermissions
There's
and
probably,
shit,
and also like all these things, there's always a bar either right next door that people
Yeah.
are going to, or an official like, we have an after party here.
exactly.
And like, if you do go to these things, you don't have to be like, hey, I'm a person, you're a person, hi. You can be like, hey, you like Harry Potter.
Middle ground, yeah.
Like, what's your favorite fucking book?
Yep.
Just be like, let's fight about something. They'll be like, what? You'll be like,
Yeah.
what's your favorite book? They'll be like, Prison of Azkaban. You'll be like, Prison of Azkaban fucking sucks. There you go. Made a friend.
Yeah.
Hit them.
You could just like start carving thunderbolts into everyone's forehead.
Oh, yeah. That could be your thing.
You could become the town's Voldemort. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Cut
Yeah.
your nose off. Cut it off.
Get 7 Horcrux.
Just run up to people. Run up to small children on their 7th birthday
And then,
and just yell, "You're a wizard!"
oh, no. That
And
would
then
be
steal
so
them,
harmful.
and then take them away to a castle.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've done it. Now you have a bunch of kid friends. They'll grow up to be real friends. Let's see if I have a quick one. Should I go home with a MILF?
Yes,
Yeah, there we go.
Next.
That's an actual question.
I know, and that's my answer. Do you have some bad sex writing for us?
The Book of Numbers.
Oh,
Wait,
hell
sorry.
yeah.
You gotta get comfy.
Oh, sorry.
The Book of Numbers by Joshua Cohen. Her mouth was intensely ovoid, an almond mouth of citrus crescents. And under that sling, her breasts were like young fawns, sheep frolicking in hyssop. Psalms were about to pour out of me. Vous, Josh, I said. Vous habillez. Je vais me undressed, clothes off, unhabillé, des sab.
Is that it?
That's it. It's not great.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
You
But
can't call something an animal and then immediately call it another animal. He was like, they're like
Young
fawns, and then he was
and
like, oh,
sheep.
but they're also sheep.
yeah, I know. How are her tits like fucking animals frolicking?
I don't understand. Also, how is it an almond and then also a slice of a fucking lemon?
He's an idiot.
Does he not know what shapes are?
He's a dumbass.
He's just...
Josh Cohen, fight me.
I almost I can promise you, he was just looking around the room and just saying things.
Her boobs were like a white drawer, and her a black LCBO bag. Her lips were blue coolers, and a sexy podcast host.
Her nipples were erect like a standing fan.
Her
High
tits
above.
were like 2 eager microphones, headphones sticking out of them and coming towards his ears with pleasure and passion. Her breasts were 2 empty whiskey glasses with just the slightest hint of taste watered down resting upon his fan.
Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
I have.
Thank you to everyone who got back to us about our questions about sharing embarrassing stories.
If you want to share the most embarrassing thing that happened to you during sex,
Do it.
we will definitely keep your names covert. In fact, we're going to start doing it. Unless you specifically say, name me, I'm just going to give you an agent name because
100%.
I would rather err on the side of caution.
Yeah. If you have a question you'd like to send to us, or if you would like to hit us up with your most embarrassing either impressing story or a sex story, you can email us at fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at FCK_buddies. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FCKbuddies podcast.
Now, thank you to Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars.
Yeah, he's quitting smoking, so find him on Twitter
And fucking make
cheer
him
on.
smoke.
Yeah, just send him pictures of cigarettes.
Send him pictures of us until he needs to smoke again. You know what time it is, guys. What time is it?
Dan time.
What time is it?
Dan time.
Who do we hate?
Dan.
When do we hate him?
Now.
Yeah. So I commented on Dan's how to get your girlfriend or wife to lose weight post, and he reported it. So
That's why the other comment wasn't showing, I guess.
yeah. So you have to click into show all to find my comment because I guess it's still under debate. But fuck you, Dan. He's still posting, and it's heartbreaking. I'm so sorry.
I know, we woke him. He slumbered and we woke him.
Dan says, new post. How can I make my ex's new man look unattractive compared to me?
Oh boy, Dan. Why do you do this? Go back to your sleep. Slumber again.
Just go
Dan.
to bed. And
Don't say it. Don't put that evil. We just said.
don't ever be a shithead on the internet again.
Don't do it. My name is Dave Miller.
And I am Niall Spain.
And we're your fuck buddies.